boxing news.
You know, all the girls on MVP, I can beat all of them.
Could we talk about this? This is great. I love. So MVP is doing this July 11th card, right? Madison Square Garden, Netflix. A lot of big names. Amanda, Katie. They also just signed Holly Holm, but she's fighting June 20th.
I'm so happy for her, Holly. I was like, what the heck? It's
Alicia
crazy.
Baumgartner on there, of course. There's literally one massive name from the world of women's boxing who's not a part of it, and it's you. And you mentioned that on the tweet. I'm not going to kiss their ass. Yeah. Why does it have to be kissing their ass? Why can't it just be like do a deal to get you on the biggest platform? There's no bigger platform than Netflix, right?
They're disrespectful.
Tell me how.
As an entire brand.
So I guess it's about time I bring this back out, that this whole perceived disrespect Claressa's talking about is manufactured in her own mind. And the only one who's been disrespectful the entire time is Claressa. Before there even was an MVP, before that brand even existed, as Jake Paul was just entering into the boxing space, and he had that fight with that basketball player, Nate Robinson, who he knocked out, Claressa responded to that by saying that she would beat the hell out of Jake Paul, that she'd knock him out. Now you tell me, how is Jake supposed to respond to that? Is he supposed to grovel? Is he supposed to bow down to Claressa Shields? Because it sounds to me like that's what she wants. That's what she expects. And she gets her panties in a bunch whenever that don't happen. Disrespect. Seems to me that you think that unless people are kissing your ass, they're being disrespectful, but you're not owed adulation for your 2 gold medals or your vacant titles or whatever else you got going on. You're the disrespectful one.
One, I hate to say had, because I still have, but I had a lot of respect for Amanda Serrano way before anybody came along, and I've been in her fights. I've supported her. I showed up on my own dime, my own time, and I've given support. When MVP came out the gate, they just came out the gate like, oh, forget Claressa Shields. Amanda Serrano is the real deal, GWOAT. She's the real GWOAT. And it was like I shared the title with her. Like, listen, you're the GWOAT of the smaller divisions. I'm the GWOAT of the bigger divisions. And we never, because we're never going to be able to fight. And with her record and her knockouts, I was giving her props. And she's 7 division time champion. How can you not give props to that? And I know that if in women's boxing, it's hard to get your just due, even though I feel like Amanda Serrano is not as skilled as me, but she's still a good fighter. You know, she's great in her own way. But for MVP to come out the gate and just, forget Claressa, the GWOAT.
While it is true that the people at Most Valuable Promotions started referring to Amanda as the greatest woman of all times, is that not their opinion, and are they not entitled to it? They have to promote Amanda how you tell them to promote Amanda. Say what you want them to say. More than vernaculars in the sporting world, these are words in the English language that everyone is entitled to use. Claressa says she has a patent, but how many people have I already seen refer to Amanda as the greatest woman of all times, or Katie as the greatest woman of all times, that it's tantamount to public domain? You can't control what people think, but you want to, and that's your real problem.
I built the GWOAT brand, and it doesn't come from anything professional. It comes from, I got 2 Olympic gold medals, not 1, but 2.
And then I turned pro, and I'm undisputed. Like, come on, man, like, let's be real. And also how I fight, but it was like,
they came out the gate just, she not nothing. We about to promote Amanda Serrano, and we're gonna call her the GWOAT. And now Claressa Shields' GWOAT will disappear.
That's not what they said. That's not verbatim. That's how you interpreted it. But you can interpret it however you want to interpret it. You're not their fighter. She's their fighter. How they want to promote her is up to them. It's not up to you. Do you see how petty all of this shit is? This is about a nickname, folks. And it might seem like Claressa's making a valid point if she didn't have problems with pretty much everybody in boxing. Jake Paul, Amanda Serrano, Alicia Baumgartner. For whatever reason, she likes taking shots at Keith Thurman. She even has an issue with Layla Ali over the quote-unquote disrespect. She's got problems with everybody. Amanda and MVP is just another name on the list.
And I was like, this is crazy because one GWOAT is trademarked. That's mine.
They've actually used that term?
Come on, man. Do you want me?
No, I'm not. I'm just asking.
100% they have.
Okay.
And before I said anything to her, I let them use it a lot. And then I finally was like, you know what? This is like the disrespect right here, because now she's tweeting and saying she's the GOAT, she's the greatest woman of all time.
So to attain the chronology of this sequence of events, let's say it happened exactly that way. Is she not allowed to think that? Amanda herself, the fighter, who was here in the sport before you were even a thing, she's not allowed to think she's the greatest woman of all times. Only you can think that.
But now everybody want to be a GOAT now. And I just felt like I reached out to Amanda first and said something to her because we were friends. And she kind of blew it off, ha ha, and I was like, listen, tell your team to stop.
Okay, so let's park it right here. Do you understand what pea-sized brain you have to have that you'd let a nickname get in the way of millions upon millions of dollars and fighting on one of the biggest, if not the biggest platform out there for boxer, Netflix? What stands in the way of Claressa Shields and millions upon millions of dollars is not any disrespect from MVP that extended an olive branch to her to come fight with them. Join the team. She doesn't want to. She cares more about a nickname. I mean, how stupid do you have to be? Even worse, that she expects people to believe she's making that kind of money now when one look into the crowd of any of her fights following the Savannah Marshall fight tells a different story. Dimitri Salita ain't got it like that to pay you millions of dollars, and you ain't got it like that to generate them. So who are you trying to kid? One look into the crowd shows you that there isn't one. Empty seats all over the place. The events have become progressively smaller and smaller since her win over Savannah 2 years ago. She's not playing to that size crowd anymore or bringing in those viewing figures. So while the audience is getting smaller, the only thing getting bigger is Claressa's ego and Claressa's complaints. Her jealousy, I should say, because that's what motivates it. The attention that Amanda gets, the attention that Katie gets, and what they get paid. That Claressa doesn't. She says that she could beat every girl in the MVP stable. Well, then poo on you that they're all making more money than you are. You must be doing something wrong if all these girls you can beat up make more than you do. You must be. Listen, you don't want to fight for MVP? Don't fight for MVP. Keep arguing over nicknames and things of that nature and see where that gets you. If you're happy where you are, then stay there. MVP was just being nice. They don't need you.
They're asking me about Inoue, if I would fight Inoue if he moved up, and I'm all for it. He's pound for pound one of the best fighters, or arguably the best fighter, and that's what I'm in this sport for, is to be the best. And in order to do that, you got to fight the best. So, I'm all for it. If the opportunity arises after Tomoki, I'm all for it.
That is IBF champion Angelo Leo once again talking about an Inoue fight that no one at featherweight is on the eve of. Nobody at 126, but he keeps entertaining that scenario instead of one that would involve him unifying titles. See, Inoue didn't get to where he got to overnight. It took a lot of time, a lot of divisions, a lot of fights, a lot of fighters, a lot of knockouts, even a tournament. You're annoyed that Angelo wants to fight him? I'm annoyed that the featherweights aren't unifying with each other and all seem to be waiting for a naturally smaller fighter to move up. That's why I'm annoyed. If he knew he were about to go to 126, then I wouldn't care. But he literally said he's not in a hurry to move up there. He's not about to move up there. So, Angelo, what you should be entertaining after the Kamita fight is a fight with Rafael Espinoza, or a fight with Nick Ball, a rematch with Stephen Fulton. They want the Inoue money, the Inoue accolades without having done the Inoue legwork. Now, Angelo Leo, to his credit, is a two-weight champion. For a short while, he held the WBO title at 122. Now he's IBF champion at 126. If you want to reach the same heights as an Inoue, get paid like an Inoue, why don't you do what Inoue did and unify your division? He did that 2 times. He became undisputed 2 times, all before you've had 1 unification match. It's the way that they package it that gets me. Oh, well, he's one of the greats, and he's one of the best. That's not why you want to fight him. You want to fight him because he's worth a lot of money, and he's smaller than you are. That by now, Angelo is fully acclimated to 126. He's had several fights there, and you want that edge over the smaller fighter moving up. Now that doesn't sound as noble as saying that Inoue's one of the greats and that he's pound for pound and that you have to fight the best. While you're on the subject of fighting the best, why don't you fight the best at your own weight? Because Inoue isn't there yet. If he were, I could understand. But he's not, and he's not about to be. And you guys are just wasting a lot of time. This is why I want Turkey to get involved. If anybody out there could afford to bankroll a World Boxing Super Series style tournament between the champions at 126, it's Turkey. It's Turkey El Sheikh, and he could do so at a fraction of the cost of what he's already spent on Devin and Ryan and Teofimo and what he has paid some other fighters. You could do a tourney at 126 at a fraction of the cost, and it would deliver. Those are all great fights. Rafael Espinoza versus any of these guys with a belt makes for fireworks. Just put it together. The reason they're all playing it safe and staying away from each other is because these guys really don't make a lot of money. They're waiting on Inoue to move up so that they could start making money. You can circumvent that. If Turkey gets involved and gives these guys one of those Saudi paydays to fight each other, I think they'll do it. The World Boxing Super Series, years ago, served as the launch pad for not only Alexander Usyk, but Naoya Inoue. That style, that format, led to some of the stars, at least two of them, that you see here today. Turkey has plenty more money than Kale and Nisei Sauerland did years ago, to where he could put together that tournament with relative ease, and that would still cost less than what he paid Devin and Ryan and Teofimo, and what he's already spent on some of these other events. I feel like this should be what's next from either Ring Magazine or Riyadh Season. Tournaments. Tournaments in divisions that need them. 126, 130, 140, 160. Tournaments. There are a lot of fights to be made and a lot of fighters that could use Turkey's help, and that would better the boxing schedule in the calendar year and the state of the sport. Tournaments. Men's junior middleweight news this past weekend. Sergey Bohachuk outpointed Mikhail Fox in LA on a 360 Promotions show. Junior middleweight contender Sergey Bohachuk made it 2 wins in a row since his close and controversial loss to Virgil Ortiz last August, as he comfortably outpointed a defensive but insufficiently elusive Mikhail Fox in the main event of a 360 Promotions Hollywood Fight Nights on Saturday card. The card, held at the Commerce Casino and Hotel in Commerce, California, near LA, was streamed on UFC Fight Pass. The judges clearly recognized that Bohachuk was the one not only pressing the action, but also proving far more effective, as they saw him as a wide and unanimous winner by scores of 97-93 on 2 judges' scorecards and 98-92. I'm ready to fight again tomorrow, Bohachuk said, with a smile in the ring afterwards. This was not a hard fight for me, but it was a hard cut. I mean, he didn't make 154, in case you guys forgot. He blew it by about 4 pounds, came in at 159. His body's telling him something, and he should listen. Now, I've actually been saying this since before this weekend's fight with Mikhail Fox, and before Sergey blew the weight, that there's not much reason or incentive to stay at 154 because there's no guarantee that he can get the somebodies at that weight in the ring. Sebastian's not going to fight him just to fight him. I don't really think anybody is short of a Saudi bag. He's back to fighting guys like Mikhail Fox on 360 Promotions shows, which are good shows, by the way, nothing against them. But for trying to boil down to 154 and failing to do so, isn't that the best indicator that it's time to move up? If you move up now, you get a head start on all the guys at 154 because they're all going to end up at 160 anyway. It's only a matter of time. Xander Zayas, Tim Tszyu, Sebastian Fundora, Virgil Ortiz. In a year's time, maybe 2, they will all be at 160. You get there before them. You're fighting those eliminators to fight for a title. You become a champion. Those guys are going to have to come see you. But right now, you're just a hot potato. You're just a high-risk, low-reward fighter. World class and made for television, but a risky opponent. A risky opponent for anybody at 154. You go to 60. You go the WBA route. Go after Erislandy Lara, who's in his early 40s. Erislandy Lara, over the years, has seen his fair share of pressure fighters. Alfredo Angulo, Jarrett Hurd, Brian Castano. He's won some fights. He's lost some fights, but at this age, I don't think he could hold one back. I don't think he could hold back Sergey Bohachuk, his volume. And 160 needs interesting fighters. It needs interesting faces. Sergey could be one of them. I think it's about time that he move up and see about becoming a champion at 160, because at 154, no dice. Particular to Sergey's methodology, his style, being a pressure fighter, it's a very physical style, arguably the most physical-based style of them all. And if you're struggling to get down to 154, it's a ticking time bomb before you end up like Jarrett Hurd. Yeah, he was a pressure fighter too, a big one, just like Sergey, very persistent, very aggressive, and then one day, all his punch resistance was gone. Couldn't hold a shot to save his life. What happens to an otherwise durable fighter that stays at a weight too long? They end up like Jarrett. That could happen to Sergey if he don't read the memo, if he don't take the hint that it's time to go up. That's what his body's telling him. He shouldn't push the envelope because he's actually been knocked out before. You don't want to stick around at 154 depleting yourself so that you end up getting knocked out again. It's the natural progression of things. Over the years, the middleweight division has always been known as one of the glamour weights, but it's only really glamorous when the smaller fighters move into it. Guys from welter and junior middle, that's when it becomes glamorous, and that's the way it's always been. Here today, the super middleweight division is more glamorous, if you can believe that. Historically, it was always viewed by Americans as one of those European weight classes, full of Europeans. These days, there's more going on, a lot more going on at 168 than there is at 160. Sergey can help to spice things up, until such a time as the other guys at 154 move into it. And Sergey isn't under threat of being in over his head because there's not a lot at 160. It's sort of a barren wasteland. Not too much to worry about. Aside from maybe Yanibek Alimkhanalai or Carlos Adames, the division is ripe for the taking. He doesn't have that much to worry about there. It's not like Inoue potentially moving up to featherweight. No, Sergey moving up to 160. It's not as risky. See if they take the hint that the scale Sergey's body's been giving them. We'll see if Sergey's next fight is in the middleweight division. I think it needs to be.